Cars are the second biggest money drain after housing, so our goal is simple. Drive something you like without setting your wealth on fire. The trick is to stop thinking in terms of monthly payment and start thinking in terms of total cost to own, much like the housing, right? So the total cost to own means everything, not just the loan, the price after rebates and the fees, but the interest you pay, the insurance, the fuel, the routine maintenance and repairs, and what you're going to sell it for later. When you look at the whole cost, better choices become obvious. So step 1, set a simple speed limit for spending. Use your take-home pay after you pay taxes, money that actually hits your bank, and cap your car's all-in monthly cost inside one of these 3 lanes. Again, not a hard and fast rule, but here are the ones. Number 1, lean, up to about 8% of your take-home pay. 2, balanced, around about 12% of your take-home pay. Enthusiast, about 15% of your take-home pay. Only if you cut elsewhere would I consider the enthusiast. Now, if you take home, let's say $6,000 a month, this would mean that for a lean, you're looking at about 480. Balanced, 720. Enthusiast, about 900. Now, this beats the broad, spend 25 to 35% on transport rules, because it forces you to count insurance, fuel, and upkeep, real costs that vary a lot by car and driver. And in terms of step 2, we're going to pick the car type that fits the lane. Best value for most people is probably a 3 to 6 year old one owner car with clean history, scheduled maintenance. The first owner eats the heavy depreciation. You still get years of life. Look, it's only 3 to 6 years old. If you buy new, do it when there are real incentives, like there's a model year changeover or there's a slow moving trim, and it still must fit your lane. Now, step 3, cash or finance. Use opportunity cost, not slogans. So paying for cash feels great, but it isn't automatically best. Ask one question. Is the loan rate higher or lower than what my cash can realistically earn elsewhere with low risk or in my business? So if the loan is expensive, say 8%, and you don't have a better use for the cash, then pay more down or pick a cheaper car. So if the loan is cheap, let's say it's under 5% or no more than 5%, keeping more cash for investing can be smarter, as long as your total cost still fits your lane. So that's the time value in plain English. So cheap loan, cash keeps working. Expensive loan, your cash gets dragged down. So a quick verdict on lease versus buy. If you keep cars 5 to 10 years, like I mostly do, then buying or financing to own, it's usually the lowest total cost to own. Leasing usually bundles depreciation, finance charges, fees, so they're often costing more unless the deal is heavily subsidized or you truly need a short, predictable term. Yeah, you get your tax write-offs at your business. Yeah, sometimes they cover the maintenance, but you got to look at everything. If you like to swap cars, by the way, especially like a luxury or exotics I have, ask for a dealer-assisted courtesy trade. Now, you're going to find the buyer. The dealer processes the sale as a trade on your behalf, right, on your next purchase for a flat fee. So in most states, you're taxed on the difference instead of the full price. Again, that trick alone can save thousands of dollars and more every single time you do it. Now, for exotics or luxury cars, my default is to finance to own and control the exit. Leases usually lose on total cost. The exception might be a heavily subsidized lease. And when flipping, use a dealer courtesy trade to capture the trade and tax credit, as I just mentioned. It's often worth more than any fee. Now, I'm going to walk through the full math, lease versus buy versus finance, invest the difference, and the courtesy trade playbook in separate videos. Step 4, 0% versus rebate. Take the cheaper money, not the prettier headline. Dealers often offer 0% financing, or a cash rebate. Decide with a simple smart compare that includes totals and what you can do with any freed cash. For example, suppose you're looking at that same $25,000 car over the 48 months or 4-year loan term. Option A might be a 0% rate, sounds great. The payment is about $521 a month. That total cost then is $25,000. Option B, you get a $3,000 rebate up front, financing essentially $22,000, but it's at an outside, something like a 5% rate at an outside credit union. Now the payment is a bit lower. It's $507 a month, but when we look at the total, it's also lower. It's $24,300. So you want to base your winner on the total paid. In this case, it's option B by $700, even though A said 0%. So don't get swept away when they say 0%. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add monthly cash that you free up, and we're going to invest it. So the payment gap difference, or delta as we say in finance, is $14. If you auto invested $14 a month, and you can, at 4% in something like a high yield savings account for 48 months, right, 4 years, that will grow to $727. Now, if you put it into an index fund, something like the mutual fund, at 7%, you turn on your reoccurring contributions. At 7% over 4 years, right, if you were getting on average, that's $770. Option B isn't just $700 cheaper in total. It also lets you build somewhere between $700 and $770 expected more from investing the difference. So the net edge is $1,400 at least. Also consider the down payment cash that you keep. So if one option ties up $5,000 more up front, let's say keeping that $5,000 in a high yield savings account at maybe 4% for 4 years, that's roughly $850 of value. So if you add that to the side that keeps more cash free, that's great. So compare the total you'll pay, then add the value of the lower payment you'll invest each month and the value of cash you keep up front. Pick the lowest overall after those three. So step 5, how long should the loan be? Look, a shorter loan saves interest, right? But it raises the payment because you're spending it over a shorter number of periods, paying it back quicker. A longer loan lowers the payment, but it does risk more interest, right? Usually longer rates do. Longer loans charge more interest. There's more uncertainty. Like, will you be employed years and years from now? The bank isn't sure. And being upside down as well, especially with these cars, right? Like, because you could be owing more than the car is worth. If you take a 7 or 8 year loan on a car, like a Mercedes S-Class, for instance, it's brand new. Mercedes S-Class, most of them, brand new, they're going to drop by 10% roughly a year. So, you know, it's not necessarily the smartest thing to do. So the practical default is usually a 3 to 4 year, 36 to 48 month loan. You stretch longer only if all the following are true. The interest rate is truly low, like near zero or clearly below what your safe cash can earn. Next, your all-in cost still fits in your lane. Next, you definitely auto-invest the payment savings, right? So if you're saving on the longer loan by paying less per month, take that difference, automatically invest it. Just set it and forget it. And finally, you won't be upside down for most of the term. So check that you won't be like in negative equity so that you're owing more than the car is worth. Now, if the rate is average or high, long loans usually equal more interest, while a fast depreciating asset, like a car, it loses value beneath you. A pro tip, though, is if you do stretch a low rate loan into long loans, create what's known as a sinking fund. So auto-invest the difference between, let's say, a 4-year, 48-month payment and your longer term payment. It'll be lower per month. So look at the difference between a 4-year and let's say you've got a 7-year. Look at the difference per month. Invest that difference. You keep the time value win and can pay off early if needed, because you don't have to wait 6 or 7 years. You can always pay it early. It's a little side note on exotics and special cases. So In the exotic or limited supply world, buyers often choose the longest, low-rate loan on purpose, but their values of their cars can be flatter after the big drop. So preserving cash for business or deals makes sense. So if you buy the right car, documented, already past the heavy depreciation the first few years, for instance, you keep the miles low, conditioned to, and you have a clear exit plan. That's great. Now, for everyday cars, for everybody else, do not import exotic car logic. Mass market cars depreciate steadily to scrap metal or zero, and don't reward long, pricey loans. Step 6, don't let the payment trick you. Negotiate by out the door, OTD, out the door price. So that's the total after taxes and fees. How much would I have to pay to get this car out of the showroom? I don't want any hidden stuff. Not what monthly can you afford, right? You really want to understand this. So get a written OTD or out the door quotes by email from at least 3 dealers. Now, here are some negotiating pro tips that I've used. So number 1, ask for the sales manager or the internet or the fleet manager up front. Go straight to the decision maker and to the internet pricing. So comparison plans or comp plans, they vary a lot. The goal is you want to have fewer handoffs, faster yes and no. Not like, the salesperson is going to check with the manager. You want to deal with the head person. So we're not trying to stiff anyone here, right? Although in some rare cases, you can save on commission if you go straight to the manager. It's no problem working with the salesperson. Ask the manager first. They might tell you have to go to the salesperson. That's fine. But just keep the manager CC'd, if you will, in the emails. Also, hunt aged inventory. So dealerships finance what's known as a floor plan for their lot cars. And they pay more the longer a car sits, 30, 60, 90 days. So ask them, do you have any units that you really want out of this lot? Because a lot of the times what they'll have to do is they'll have to just cut their losses and just sell it at wholesale prices, right? They just go on an auction and they'll lose a lot of money that way. So after about 90 days, that's when their finance costs start to eat up their profits and they really want to get rid of it. They'll try to auction it, lose a lot of money. So you can come in a little bit above auction, but you'll get a bit of a deal there, right? Sometimes. So just ask them, do you have any units, any cars that you really want to get off this lot? Because lot cars, especially near 60 to 90 days, or the prior year models, especially when you have a version of a car that maybe it's a 7 years, gone for 7 years, and it's the same version as next year's car. It's just it was 20, whatever the last year was. So it was last year's version as opposed to next year's version, right? The new one is just coming out or something like that. It's great. Also odd colors or options. Now, again, you're going to hurt your resale a little bit, but you can get a big discount. They get the biggest discounts. I have found that. Take the car on the lot when the deal is right. Ordering is fine, but lot cars and aged unit pressure often price better. I have done this myself. When I got my Subaru Forester over a decade ago, I remember thinking, okay, I like the car, I like the model, I've got it the right price, I've got the right version, that lower insurance. And I remember almost buying, and one of the people there was showing me that there was 2 or 3 versions on their lot. And they stressed that if you took these ones, you would actually get a better deal than ordering online. That was great for me. I didn't know this tip at the time, but I saved thousands of dollars, a few thousand. There was at least $2,000, $3,000 difference between ordering online and just buying the car that was on the lot that was sitting there 2 or 3 months. So getting a lot car, again, it's pretty much almost zero owners. It's got next to no miles. As long as there's nothing wrong with it, etc. We're not really talking about second-hand cars here, but a lot car is a lot cheaper, usually. Not always, but it can be a lot cheaper, pardon the pun. Now, in terms of negotiation, just a reminder, start with the sales manager, the internet manager, whoever's the manager. Ask for the aged inventories, cars sitting 60, 90 days on the lot that are costing them money. What are the cars you really would like to move? That's your leverage. Come pre-approved at a credit union. So you want to let the dealer try to beat that. Now, say no to add-ons, because where they make most of their money is in the finance. but also in the maintenance and the repair afterwards, right? They make a bit of money on other sides too, but the finance is a huge part of it. So say no to add-ons that you didn't ask for. Paint sealants, VIN etching, nitrogen boost, like all kinds of stuff like that. If it's used, if it's a used car, and I've done this too, get an independent PPI or pre-purchase inspection. So when I'm buying exotics, that's all I do. When I buy my next car, be a luxury car, secondhand car, that's what I do. And walk away from flood or salvage weirdness, right? You don't want that. It's almost impossible to sell again salvaged cars that have really damaged. Step 7, check your insurance before you fall in love. The same car can cost wildly different amounts to insure. So get quotes before you sign. Raise deductibles if you have the cash cushion. Bundle with home or renter's insurance and reshop yearly. Look, a car that's worth $50 a month, cheaper to insure, that's $600 a year to your wealth. And look, in my case, I went from $3,000 on one car insurance to $1,000. So I saved $2,000, right? In fact, when I was ringing around the end of the year that time, I had multiple properties. I ended up saving $6,000 by reshopping in terms of short-term rental insurance. I was with proper insurance. I switched to State Farm. The same with autos, rights for my car. And the stakes were huge. I was paying way too much in terms of insurance. I was paying $4,000 or $5,000 on home insurance over the course of years for my properties. I dropped that down to close to like $1,000, maybe $2,000. So I saved $6,000 in total. And for the car, I saved $2,000 a year. Huge. Now, in terms of your service plan, after warranty, a great local independent mechanic can save you serious money versus the dealer. This is what I've done. And you'll often get faster, more personal service. So look for stronger reviews. Also, something like ASE certification and brand experience. Keep every invoice in a folder. Maintenance records raise the resale value. I found that to be true. Clean records make your car easier to sell later. Step 8, plan the exit the day that you buy. So decide how long you're going to keep it and the mileage that you're going to tolerate. If you hold for years, pick reliable trims. I did, with cheap parts and service. That's what I was doing when I got my first car in the US. If you rotate sooner, so if you're not keeping for years, then still choose models that resell easily and do not fall off a cliff after the warranty is over. So having an exit plan stops you overspending now and gives you a target resale later. So look, I loved the Subaru Forester years ago. I bought it and I was looking at 2 models. The next model up, the insurance skyrocketed. So I was told beforehand to do that, so I saved money there. Also, I chose the Subaru Forester largely because of the magazines. All I could find out was that it was one of the best cars secondhand. So I was looking forward 5-10 years to see what will it be like in 5 or 10 years. And so you make the actual purchase based on not just what it looks like right now, but where it's going to go in the future. You can really see this with a lot of cars that have been out for a long time. Like the Subaru Forester was a classic example of that. Very reliable as well, right? Incredible saves on the insurance, on the maintenance, on reliability. And there are other vehicles, like some people look at the Jeeps, certain Jeeps, the Jeep Wrangler have a very low depreciation. They're very good for maintaining their value. There are other cars as well. This is not the video for it, but there are plenty of cars that you can look into that have excellent exit plans. So let's make it real with a quick example, a balanced lane. Let's say you take home $6,000 a month after tax, and you're going to choose a balanced or 12% of your take home spent on a car, total cost. So the target there is $720 a month. That's 12%, all in, your payment, your insurance, any fuel that you use, maintenance, you name it. You're going to compare, let's say, a 4-year-old car, a certified used sedan, versus a new one with a big rebate. So the insurance, let's say the quotes that you get for the new car, maybe it's $30 more, right, to insure because it's new. The dealer might offer you either 0% or a $3,000 rebate if you go for outside financing. And the outside financing could come from a credit union at 5%. So the totals, if you're getting the 0% on $25,000, then it's going to cost you still $25,000. If you get $3,000 off plus the 5% that you've actually got elsewhere that you've got to pay back, that means, okay, 3,000 off, that's 22,000, and you're paying 5%, it's going to end up costing you $24,300. So in this case, the rebate of $3,000 plus the credit union loan is cheaper by $700, even though it's not 0%, see? So be careful just hearing 0%. The payment gap, that's $700 over 48 months. That's $14 a month of a difference in terms of the payment gap. You could then also invest that extra gap, that $14 a month extra gap, and that would basically add between about 700 in high yield savings to, let's say, 770 in the stock market, more advantage to the cheaper option, right? So that's even better. Now, if the used car, let's say that's also going to save you $30 a month insurance and $20 a month in fuel. So let's say we get it for $50 a month. Well, that's $2,400 over the 4 years, 48 months. And that's easily going to outweigh the new car financing edge, the $700, as long as both stay under 720 a month and match your exit plan. The bottom line is that between the two new car offers, take the $3,000 rebate and the 5% loan from the credit union, because you're getting the whole thing for $24,300 total, not 0%, right? But if the used car truly saves $50 a month to run, it's likely about $1,700 ahead overall. The $2,400 savings minus the $700 new car finance edge, and it will keep you inside the $720 a month lane. So look, there's zero drama here. You're going to pick the lowest overall after counting totals. You're going to invest the difference, cash is kept up front, and ongoing costs too, and keep everything inside your lane. So the bottom line is use one rule: the total cost inside a lane that you choose. Lean lane 8%, balance lane 12%, enthusiast lane 15% of your take home for the whole car bill. Price, interest, insurance, fuel, maintenance, minus what you're going to sell it for. Then pick the cheapest money by comparing total paid plus the payment difference you'll auto invest plus the cash you keep up front. You're going to default to 3 to 4 years, that's 36 to 48 months, but only stretch out longer these loans if the rate is truly low and it still fits into your lane. Get out the door quotes from 3 dealers, insurance quotes before you sign, and do a proper inspection and know your exit. Do this once and your car stops being a wealth leak. Every saved dollar speeds up your freedom timeline.